city banker who told wicked lies his female boss had sexually harassed him and tried to touch his Gucci belt after he wore a string vest to work is jailed for 20 months. So they're going after male false accusers too. And they didn't throw him away for 20 years either. It was about the same length that women get for this crime. Now, we still have women committing it more often, but it's equality, I guess. A shitty banker who falsely claimed he was sexually harassed by a female manager after wearing a string vest at work has been jailed. Damiller Ajao claimed the manager made a number of sexual advances towards him and sexually harassing comments while working at a Deutsche finance giant, Commerzbank. He was dismissed by the company in November current year -6 and subsequently brought an employment tribunal claim against the bank, which include allegations of sexual harassment and sexual assault against the manager. Yeah, this is a very common story. Like when someone gets fired and they just like literally check every box that they could sue for and they go for it. So it's a good thing they're nipping this in the bud. One claim alleged that he was pestered by the manager, identified in court only as Q, who flirtatiously told him that she could see his nipples and tried to touch his Gucci belt buckle in the staff canteen. But the case is thrown out in current year -1 by Judge Anthony Snelson, who found that the sexual harassment and assault allegations were false and in large part made up and amounted to a pure invention. Now, how did they come to that conclusion, though? Was it one of those that, like the two of them were never even in the same area at the time they claimed this happened? The case was subsequently went to the High Court, where Ajao was today jailed for 20 months by Mr. Justice Martin Spencer for serious contempt of court. The judge also handed the separated father of two who lives in Medway, Kent, a £150,000 bill towards the bank's lawyer costs of bringing the contempt case. Given the judgment, the judge said the allegations made at the employment tribunal and persisted in as he denied contempt amounted to a deliberate and wicked assault on the manager's professional standing. Yeah, so again, like how did they determine that this was false? Because I would like to see that. The court previously heard that Ajao worked for the bank at its offices in Gresham Street in the City of London between May and November of current year -6 when he was sacked and subsequently brought the unsuccessful tribunal claim. Among his complaints were that Q had a sexual motive in her dealings with him and claimed that she became annoyed at his rejection of sexual advances. Oh, I didn't get fired because I was shit at my job. It's because I rejected my boss's advances. Yeah, we've heard this how many times? Usually it's from the other side, but yeah, that's a common excuse. He claimed the manager had told him, "I fancy you," and had on several occasions over a period of months commented that she could see his skin and nipples through his shirt. When he then launched a compensation claim to an employment tribunal, which the bank branded a wholly bogus claim of sexual assault and harassment against Miss Q. Now, this is the one difference here. So they pretty much circled the wagons around the female manager. But if this was a woman bringing a claim against a male manager, they would have fired him immediately. Yeah, this is one difference in this case. Employment Judge Snelson in April current year -1 dismissed the claim and said that although mention has been made of Mr. Ajao's vest, the allegations in his claim were simply false. The case reached the High Court earlier this year when Commerzbank launched its bid to have Mr. Ajao jailed for contempt of court relating to his rejected allegation. And this needs to happen more often, by the way. If you're the victim of a false accuser, then you need to make damn sure they get punished. However, he denied contempt, claiming it was his perception that he had been the victim of sexual harassment and assault, and he was not deliberately untruthful. Oh, so he basically admitted it. Well, it was my truth, so therefore I can't be wrong about... Yeah, you basically admitted to lying. Fuck off. Like, as soon as someone starts busting out these excuses, they're confessing. Like, yeah, I fucking lied, but actually I technically did. No, fuck you. You lied. Yeah, this is Airstrip 1. Yeah, this is an Airstrip 1, although it was for a German bank, but they got offices everywhere in the world. That's not that unusual. But the bank's barrister, Lewis Brown KC, has said that it did not fit with the way his case was run at the tribunal, nor with the way he gave his evidence at the High Court. He was very clear in what he said in his employment tribunal claims, not that there was a perception that he was harassed or assaulted. His case was very clear. These events happened, and there's a clear intent and motive behind them, and he is given ample opportunity to grow back from these allegations. Dude, how much you want to bet he was even offered a settlement? Like, okay, we'll give you $1 million to shut the fuck up and walk away. And now he's going to jail instead, and he owes them like almost $200,000. Oh, that's good. But Mr. Ajao fought the case, denying contempt of court, and insisting that he had genuinely believed what he told the tribunal, even if he ultimately lost the case. His barrister, Sasha Voss, KC, said the bank had put its contempt case on the basis of Ajao's accusations were wholly bogus and knowingly so. Well, it looks like they were able to prove his case was bogus more than he was able to prove that anything was intentional. However, there was a foundation in evidence for everything he said, with the manager, Miss Q, accepting accepting in her evidence that there had been a conversation, though innocent, about his string vest. Finding Mr. Ajao in contempt of court today, Mr. Justice Martin Spencer said Miss Q had been entirely honest and credible in her evidence to the court. Is it true, though? Yeah, I would like to. I wish these European courts were as open as a lot of American courts are. Like, unfortunately, not all, but I wish we could see exactly how this played out. That would be very helpful. She had never said she could see Mr. Zhao's nipples, only spoke to him in the context of a friendly relationship between the two, who sometimes talked about fashion. I'm starting to think, like, I mean, this guy's like obviously gay. I mean, the woman must have known he was gay. If she was hypothetically hitting on him, did she think she can change him or something? Huh. Mr. Ajao's evidence was, however, false, he said, adding there were such discrepancies, inconsistencies, and impossibilities in his evidence that it was quite incapable of acceptance. Oh, okay. So again, this happens with female false accusers all the time. Like, so I bet what the issue was his story was inconsistent. He kept changing the story. Yeah, I could see that. This is very common in false accusations. The more I heard of his evidence, the more I became sure his evidence was untrue and deliberately so. Mr. Ajawa said the comments and the alleged attempt at sexual assault were the culmination of a pattern of behavior over the summer and autumn of current year -6. But the judge said it was, in fact, a deliberate and wicked assault on her professional standing. If there had been a mounting campaign of sexual harassment by Miss Q, that would have made the claim all the more serious and given credence to his claim about her conduct and the purpose or effect of violating his dignity. I mean, he kind of did that on his own, and creating an intimidating, hostile, and degrading, humiliating, offensive environment. I bet they had evidence. Like, they're like, yeah, okay, let's pull up all the communications they've ever had, and it's like nothing but business. In my judgment, there wasn't a shed of truth in any of the allegations the defendant has made against Miss Q. I'm sure the allegations made were untrue and deliberately so, and a deliberate attempt to deceive the tribunal, compounded by lies told to this court. Yeah, this seeing the constant Miss Q come up. This is another lack of equality here. If it's a guy being accused, they usually dox him immediately. Like, he'd be doxed, he'd be fired. He'd probably be in jail for like just in case. But if it's a woman, nah, we got to protect her. Like, that is a double standard that still needs to be fixed. The court heard Mr. Zhao lost a successful career in finance and now relies on universal credit, while his marriage has also failed and he now lives alone. But the judge said the effect on Miss Q had been predictably serious. She said she had felt like a criminal and described her ordeal as insulting and painful, resulting in her taking sleeping medication. Yeah, but she didn't lose her job. She wasn't doxxed to the whole country and treated like a sexual predator. Like, that's what guys usually have to go through in the equivalent situation. But I know she has to play up the effect it had. I mean, that's like a thing you have to do in court, but still annoying. Mr. Zhao has also tried to cover up his lack of reporting the allegations at the time by saying he felt Miss Q was sensitive at the time due to a family bereavement. But the judge said that was a cynical attempt to exploit a genuine grief part of the fictitious set of allegations, which amounted to a serious contempt of court. Addressing Mr. Zhao, he continued, your lies were deliberate and perpetuated over a significant period of time, including giving the false evidence on oath. They represent an attempt to deceive the court into awarding you substantial damages. It really does come off as an attempt to milk the system, really. I mean, that's what most false accusations, like, there's two reasons for false accusations. Either to fuck over someone you don't like, and or to milk money from the system. This could have been both. The most significant fact is that the appropriate punishment can only be achieved by immediate custody. The result is I commit you to prison for 20 months. The judge said Mr. Ajao would be eligible for early release on license after serving 8 months, but also ordered that he pay £150,000 towards the bank's costs. Now the financial award. This is why people don't sue over every little thing, because the guy lives on benefits. He has an ex-wife that he probably pays child support to. You're not getting that money from him. Like that, I think that's part of the reason he brought this lawsuit, was so he can actually get some money. Good luck getting the £150,000, but the 20 years is well deserved. You make false accusations, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. In my opinion, it's still the same. You should get the maximum sentence that the falsely accused would have gotten had they been found guilty. So if you falsely accuse someone of something that could carry the death penalty, that's what you should fucking get. But yeah, the financial award, you're never going to see that. Like, especially if he spends 20 months in prison. Yeah, good luck getting a job that he could ever hope to pay that much money off. So the bank's never going to get those costs reimbursed. And that's why people don't sue over every little thing.